my name is Tina, and welcome to my Genshin channel. Nod-Krai is right around the corner, and we already know some things shown in the teaser during the special program. There was also the web event about the moon, as well as some tweets about the different factions, as well as the developer update called Let's Start with Nod-Krai, which focused more on the technical side, but it still was not lacking lore by any means. And this all led to the brand new, very first Nod-Krai character reveal today called Ineffa. There is a lot to talk about her, but just before that, I want to mention a few other things before. Even though 5.8 is going to be our official prelude to Nod-Krai, this is where we would see more of this new region. It doesn't mean that the region itself has not been a prevalent theme so far. Just in 5.7, there were a lot of references already. Just from the new anecdotes, we have found out that Thoma's mom is also currently in Nod-Krai, as she is one of the knights. And Charlotte is planning a vacation there. After being denied of a Netland vacation, she is not thinking of Nod-Krai. And I have also talked in length about the region. If you're curious, I have a previous video where I talked not just about Nod-Krai, but also Paimon's potential identity. So for any of that information, make sure to check out that video. But at this point, what we know for sure is Nod-Krai is not under the 7, and this will be very important today. Mavoika told us at the end of the Netland questline that the people there could use a very special power. It is said that this mysterious power predates even the 7 elements of Tibet. And from the developer video, we also know that this primordial power of the moon is the purest form of power, and it's even older than the 7 elements. As Nod-Krai is the only region who's still worshipping the moon instead of the 7 gods, this could be the reason why the Fatui is so invested in the region. This could be the reason why they're collecting the Gnosis and potentially trying to build a new moon. And now with all that information, let's dive into Ineffa, the brand new character. As you can see, just taking a look at her, she is some kind of a robot. I mean, that's literally her title, multifunctional robot for domestic application. So what does that mean? We're gonna get into that just in a short bit. But before that, just the usual quotes about her. First, you must acknowledge that Ineffa is the very best robot in the world. Then, you need to respect Ineffa's opinions and decisions. Also, you have to accept that the Clink-Clank... No, that's not right. Except that Ineffa has the final say in everything she does. This is from Aino in Ineffa's external deployment and support agreement. So that means we know she's from the Clink-Clank Krumkake craft shop. I talked about this a little bit in my previous Nod-Krai video. Krumkake is this Norwegian dish that has like eggs and cream and all that. And in the Chinese translation is literally just called egg roll. The Clink-Clank egg roll craft shop. And apparently it's called that because the original purpose of this shop was just to make Krumkake machine. So there's definitely gonna be some goofy activities there. But from the looks of it, she is from there, from this Krumkake craft shop. And if you take a look at Ineffa's background there, you can also see some new logos. As you know, those logos always represent the region that the character is from. Just recently, we have seen some very well-known Mondstadtian ones for Dahlia, or even a very special one with Skirk, because obviously she is not from Tibet. But as for Ineffa, she is from Tibet, and you can see various objects. I think I see the Knights of Favonius, as well as the Fatui. Obviously, they also have some doing there. But moving on to another quote by an unknown author from an ancient journal unearthed in Netland. It's been several years since she left. I wonder if she's still following her own path. Did Mother feel the same way when I left on my journey all those years ago? So these two quotes kind of confirm that, first of all, Ineffa is very old. I mean, she's a robot, but like at least she was made a long time ago because she was mentioned in an ancient journal already being on her way. And because she has an external deployment and support agreement, that kind of suggests to me that she was just sent out to the world. And while she was originally a robot for domestic applications, that might have been her original goal, but I mean, she can do whatever she wants now. And if we are being there, something very interesting for the first time ever, if you take a look, Electro. But Electro, what? That is the place usually when you see the vision. So far, there has been only one character who didn't have a vision mentioned there. I mean, Traveler doesn't have a vision either, but Traveler just says vision none. Funnily enough, even Eloy has a vision according to the profile. So far, the only character who differed from that was obviously Skirk, as she is obviously not having a vision. She gets her power from the Abyss. And instead of a vision, she has a 7 shifting serpent, and that is the one that has a cryotype. But as for Ineffa, a lot of question marks, which makes sense if you just remember what I said a couple of minutes ago. Nod-Krai is not under the 7. They're not using the elemental energy as we know. That means they probably don't have visions either. Their form of energy is something way before that elemental energy was like purified in Tibet. So this is gonna be something entirely new. Possibly also some special effects. Obviously, we're gonna be finding more about that later on. But for now, all we know is that this is something else that left mysterious. Could that be that they're using pure element, not condensed into parts like the visions, but just purely coming it from the moon? Something like that. I mean, I don't know, but we're gonna be finding out very soon. And as for her introduction, throughout Tibet's history, humankind has made many attempts to mimic the complex workings of life using mechanisms and gears. Giants, forged of steel, carved out the lands of Kanria, while the Lord Artificer, or I'm gonna talk more about it later, ushered in a new age with clockwork contraptions. Now, who is this Lord Artificer? I don't even know how to pronounce that. But there is an easier way to pronounce that name. That is Alan Guillotine. The one and only Alan Guillotine from the Narcississenkreuz Ordo. He was the one who invented the whole Arca system in Fontaine. And obviously one of his main fields were clockwork mechas. He was also the one who made Seymour. And just in general, he was very fascinated with Kanria and also their clockwork mechas. Given the fact that we know, since she was mentioned in an ancient journal, that Ineffa has been around in Tibet for quite a long while, I'm not necessarily sure if she was also made by Ellen. Probably not. It was probably just to mention like, hey, she's also similar to that. But since a lot of Ellen's notes were from Kanria, maybe she has something to do with that one as well. Though it also could just be a whole different person making whole different mechas. Perhaps through the eyes of some maniacs, humans themselves are no more than machines built on bone and flesh. If we turn our gaze to creators outside humanity, if the boundaries are drawn at creations beyond mere machinery, gods walk into the primordial sea and sinners cast themselves into the abyss, while the ancient king of dragons engraved mind and soul into phlogiston. Now obviously this line is talking about the various creatures in Tibet, how the heavenly principles brought humans from another planet to Tibet. Also Primordial Sea mentioned, Fontanians originally were created from the Primordial Sea. Talking a little bit about the sinners, not necessarily the 5 sinners of Kanria, though they themselves as well tried to get the abyssal power, that's why they were sinners. And finally talking about phlogiston, another source of energy in Tibet. All of these, the Primordial Sea, the abyssal power, and the phlogiston, are elements, not necessarily elements, but definitely sources of power, similar what the moon has and similar to what people in Nod-Krai believing in. Maybe it was done out of compassion or ambition, perhaps even the pursuit of eternal sovereignty or desire to rebel against fate. Once again, why people trying to create life? A lot of different reasons. Even just now we have seen Albedo also trying that. Obviously God, Albedo's mom, is very known just like creating life. And the ruler of life who, I mean, just mentioning Albedo's mom, kinda nom the ruler of life. But basically what these paragraphs are saying so far is that even though Ineffa is a robot and she was created by what it looks like by humans, basically every creature in Tibet were created by someone else. Maybe except the dragons. They were the original ones. But everyone else, they were not supposed to be in Tibet. And the rebel against fate, in a lot of the cases, might have been the reason why the heavenly principles brought the humans into Tibet. Are we gonna be seeing more information about them in Ineffa's story quest? I'm not necessarily sure. It doesn't really feel like that, but maybe we're all gonna be in a massive surprise. Compared to that supreme wisdom and power, this workshop is naught but a patchwork paradise cobbled together by a lonely child. Compared to that magnificent destiny and design, Ineffa was created as the vessel for no such lofty expectations. At least on the eve of her reactivation, her purpose is simple: to serve as a companion. I mean, she is a robot for domestic application, which means that, Noel, I'm very sorry, robots are taking your job away. But a very important word in this last sentence, reactivation. So she might have had some other purpose beforehand, but she has been reactivated and now she's just a cleaner. She is gonna be the very first character from the new Genshin version, but she's gonna be very different in that sense, and also in the sense that she is not gonna have a vision, as we know. She's not gonna be using the elemental energy, as we know. So there is a lot more to discover. I would assume more known in the next special program. It's a little shorter video, I know, but I just really wanted to talk about her because she is the first Nod-Krai character. And in this sea of information that I just told you guys, as you know, if I missed something, if there is maybe an Easter egg or some little detail that I missed, make sure to write me a comment. I always love to read your comments. And also subscribe for more content because, oh boy, they're coming. More content is coming rapidly. Have a see on my Genshin channel and see you in the next one. Bye-bye!